Here's some advice, and you can take it or leave it, but whatever you do, don't open the door at 3:33 a.m. Now I know what you're thinking. It's late. It could be dangerous. But that's not why you shouldn't open it. You shouldn't open it because whatever is on the other side, it already knows you're awake. Trust me, I learned this lesson the hard way. It started like any other sleepless night. I was just lying there in bed, that weird space between being awake and dreaming. My mind was drifting, replaying the day's events, worrying about tomorrow. Then my phone buzzed. It wasn't a notification buzz. It wasn't the kind of vibration you set for a text or a call. It was just a low, steady hum. Like an insect trapped inside the casing. I remember fumbling for it in the dark, my eyes barely able to focus on the screen. The time read 3:32 a.m. For a split second, I felt a strange sense of relief. I still had 1 minute before the real nightmare started. 1 minute of quiet before the anxiety fully kicked in. That's when I heard it. The knocking. 3 slow, deliberate taps on my front door. Knock. Knock. It wasn't loud. It wasn't urgent or desperate. It was almost polite. Like a neighbor asking for a cup of sugar. If neighbors did that in the dead of night, my entire body went rigid. I held my breath, straining to hear anything else. My mind started to spin out of control. Who could it be? No one ever visits me. I moved into this apartment complex 6 months ago, and I've barely spoken to anyone. More importantly, no one I know has this address. I'm a private person. I like it that way. The knocking stopped as suddenly as it began. The silence that followed was somehow even more terrifying. Then my phone screen lit up again, blinding me in the darkness. A message from an unknown number. My heart skipped a beat. The message was just 2 words. I'm outside. My throat felt like it was full of sand. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't breathe. Before my brain could even process a response, another message popped up. Please open the door. Please. Again with the politeness. It was unsettling. It felt like a trap. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the keypad, but what could I even type? Who are you? What do you want? It all seemed pointless. I didn't move. I just lay there, frozen in my bed, listening to the pounding of my own heart. I glanced at my phone again. The time had changed. 3:33 a.m. Exactly. At that precise moment, the motion-activated light in the hallway outside my apartment flickered on, casting a strange dancing shadow under my door. And then I heard the voice. It wasn't coming from outside the building. It wasn't muffled by the walls or the thick wood of the door. It was right there on the other side, as if someone had their mouth pressed against the peephole. Open up, it whispered. The voice was wrong. It was close to human, but there was a strange, raspy quality to it, like dry leaves scraping across pavement. Almost human. Almost. I forced myself out of bed. Every muscle screamed in protest. I crept toward the door, each footstep feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I had to see, I had to know. My hand reached for the peephole cover. The polished brass doorknob wasn't moving. It was just sitting there, still, patient. It felt like it was watching me, waiting for me to make a move. As my fingers got closer to the peephole, my phone buzzed again in my other hand, making me jump. Another message from the unknown number. You always open it. I shook my head, a cold sweat breaking out across my forehead. What did that mean? I didn't remember ever doing this before. This wasn't some recurrent dream. This was real. The hallway light flickered again, and then the whisper returned closer this time. It said my name, but not the name my friends use or the name on my driver's license. It was the name only my mother used to call me. The secret childhood nickname she whispered to me the night she tucked me in for the last time. Right before she disappeared without a trace, ice flooded my veins. How could it know that name? A wave of panic and grief washed over me, so strong I almost buckled, and the knocking started again. This time it was harder, faster, louder. It wasn't polite anymore. It was angry, desperate. The door vibrated with each impact. Bang, bang, bang. Then I saw it. The doorknob. It twitched, just once. A quick, sharp, metallic click. My phone vibrated one last time, the message glowing ominously on the screen. If you don't open it, I'll come in anyway. That's when I finally found my legs. I scrambled backward, stumbling over a shoe I'd left on the floor. My heart was a drum solo against my ribs, so loud I was sure it could be heard through the door. I pressed myself into the far corner of my living room, praying for the time to change, praying for sunrise, praying for anything to make this stop. 3:33 a.m. The numbers on my phone screen seemed to be mocking me, refusing to budge. Then, with a slow, agonizing groan, the doorknob began to turn. It wasn't forced. It wasn't breaking the lock. It was turning as if a key was being used. Slowly, carefully, testing the mechanism. That was the last thing I remember seeing clearly. The polished brass turning, the latch slowly retracting. I opened my mouth and screamed, a raw, primal sound of pure terror that tore through my throat. And in that instant, every light in my apartment went out, plunging me into absolute suffocating darkness. I don't know how long I was in the dark. It could have been seconds or hours. When the lights finally flickered back on, the apartment was exactly as I'd left it. The door was closed, the lock was secure. The hallway outside was silent and dark. I shakily raised my phone. The time was 3:34 a.m. I checked my messages. No unknown number. I checked my call log. No missed calls. It was all gone. As if it had never happened. I didn't open the door that night. I spent the rest of the hours until sunrise huddled in that same corner, staring at the door, waiting. But nothing else happened. The sun came up, and the world outside went back to normal. But for me, nothing has been normal since, because every single night, it comes back. I don't get the texts anymore. I don't get the calls. The knocking has stopped. But I know it's there. Every night, as the clock ticks over to 3:33 a.m., I hear it. The faint sound of breathing just on the other side of my front door, a low, raspy inhale and exhale. And sometimes, if I listen closely enough, I can hear a soft scratching sound, like fingernails dragging lightly across the wood. It's patient, it's waiting. It knows that one of these nights my curiosity will get the better of my fear. It knows that one day, I won't be strong enough not to open the door, and it will be waiting for me. Thanks for listening. If you liked this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what comes next. Stay safe out there.